Welcome to the Over the Hump podcast. Your gateway to the world of the iconic Brahman breed of cattle. At BRC Ranch, our passion for Brahman cattle runs deep. Join us as we delve into the heart of this extraordinary breed, unveiling its rich history, exploring industry trends, and sharing captivating stories that define the American Brahman. BRC Ranch stands as the pinnacle of Brahman excellence in America, boasting a decade-long legacy of champions and housing the finest Brahman bulls worldwide. It's not just about cattle, it's about a legacy that reverberates across ranches and hearts. Brought to you by BRC Ranch, where the Brahman legacy thrives and stories are woven into the very fabric of ranching. This is Over the Hump.
Hey everyone, y'all are in for a real treat today on this podcast because I am sitting down and talking to Carlos Guizar, who is the artistic legend behind all of the BRC photos in the last few years. And so Carlos and his business of creative cattle, Carlos is one of the world's leading cattle photographers, and we sat down and we talked about his background in the business and some of the more favorite animals that he's photographed and get some tips from him on livestock photography. So hope you enjoy this. This is another one of our international guests, and we really appreciated Carlos being on the podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Over the Hump podcast. I am your host, Rachel Cottrell, for today, and today we are interviewing the internationally famous cattle photographer, Carlos Guizar. So welcome, Carlos.
Hi, how are you? That's a really warm welcome.
Thank you. I was trying to think of, I was wanting to say, like, you're like my brother. You are my brother. But then I was thinking, how do you say that in Spanish? And the only word that came to mind was hermanos completos. But I think that means full brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cattle, my cattle Spanish is not that good. So yeah, just to give our listeners a background, I'll kind of share a little bit, Carlos. We started working together probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was almost 5 years ago when it was going to be the World Brahman Congress in Paraguay, I think so.
Okay, yeah. And so the way we got connected is that I know Alfredo Muscus connected us because we needed some high quality photos for marketing, and you were coming to visit him, and we got connected that way. I am trying to go back on my computer right now to think who were the first animals you pictured for us, because I know you did like Come On Eileen when she was a baby, Chacarita. I found it. It was 2022. The first set, I don't know if you remember this or not, the first set of pictures that you did for us was, I'm pulling the list up.
I remember that. I think that the first time that I took photos was when I took the photo from Captain. He was in the pasture with the trees, and then they made this painting.
Yes, yes. And then Jesus Daza made the painting of that. So the first set you took for us was Come On Eileen when she was a baby. Kukui, do you remember him? The big black bull. It's in Thailand now. You did Hey Dude. You did Glitter Sparkle and Sugar. Those went just when they were babies though, like not necessarily babies, but Glitter Sparkle was kind of a baby. She was mid-level. Gosh, so ever since then you have been our official photographer.
Yeah, I remember that big that first like batch of photos. It was really good.
Yeah, well, every batch of photos is good. So Carlos photographs, the best Brahman cattle for breeders all throughout Mexico and Central America. But let's start. But you didn't start out as a livestock photographer, although you had some background in livestock. But walk us through your history of how you got into photography and cattle photography. You know what I'm wanting you to say, right?
Okay. Well, everything began I was studying in the university, and a friend invited me to do a, uh, a music video. So I started doing music videos, and I realized that I really like that industry. And then I went to study my master's degrees in Madrid, and when I came back to Mexico, another friend of mine invited me to make a pilot show from MTV. So I did it, and they liked my job, and I liked the way they were doing the works there, and they invited me to be a part of MTV. So I stay at MTV for almost 6 years, 4 in Mexico and 2 years in Argentina. And I did some MTV Unplugs, I did MTV Lives. Um, One of my biggest achievements were Jonas Brothers when they were really famous.
Jonas Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that is cool. So when you said your friend invited you to do a music video, he was inviting you to film a music video or just or like be an actor in it? What was that?
Oh, well, more like stuff, Give me that filter, or bring me that camera lens, something like that. Like more like technician stuff. And that's where I started learning about cameras. That's I think that was a really good goal in my job resume, because that's one of my strongest achievements to work for MTV.
Yeah. So what year was this or what decade?
Okay, it was the 2000s, when the reality shows began. So when I was working at MTV, it was what was this? There was a TV reality show in a lagoon. I don't remember what was the name. It was a
Real World?
yeah, Real World.
I loved the Real World. I loved the meeting. I mean, I love the Real World. I watched that like every day in 1997 to 2003. I loved it. So you worked on this on MTV Unplugged, you said.
Yeah, I did for MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, that is so cool. I don't even know if well I remember like Eric Clapton was one of my favorite like MTV Unplugged, but do you have any and you said you did the Jonas Brothers. Do you have any other famous artists that kind of stood out?
Well, yeah, when I was in Argentina, uh, a girl from England and me, we were the only people in the office that we speak English. Well, in my case, kind of. And and she was on vacation, so um, they needed to interview Beyonce. So they told me, okay, so you are the only English speaker here in MTV, so you are going to interview Beyonce. So I went to the show, and I interviewed her.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that is awesome. So I know you also did some work for Netflix. When did Netflix come in or was that before or after you really started focusing on cattle?
Well, no, it was before. Uh, when I moved to Argentina, then I realized that I wanted to do more like movies. So I came back to Mexico, and I started doing TV series for Mexico. So I did four series for no 5 series for Netflix, and then suddenly COVID time began. So all the TV industry and the film industry stopped, and someone told me that they were going to have a really big show, cattle show in Guadalajara, and they wanted a video for the Mexican Association. So the Mexican Cebu breeders in Mexico. So I did a video, and the first time that I stay in a pasture with cattle, for me it was like home, because when I was kid, my family used to have a farm, so I was really related to cattle business. So it was like home for me, and I feel really comfortable working with them. And that's how it began with the cattle photography.
Yeah, that is so you were there not necessarily on an assignment because of your cattle. It just happened to be a video job that was about cattle and that reignited your passion for cattle.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the owners or the breeders that I went to their ranches to take photos and videos, they start to call me. Okay, I have this kind of cattle. I want to perfect my. I want to have some photos of these bulls or these heifers or these cows, and I start you know taking photos of them, and then also I have to find some inspiration how to take the photos, how I wanted to how I wanted the photos to look like, and I really realized, and I think that I told you that I found the one that famous photo from Boom Chakalaka, and I was for me like that's the kind of photo that I wanted to take.
Yeah, you're talking about the iconic Boom Shakalaka photo. It's a gorgeous photo. That was a long time ago. It's probably one of the most famous Brahmin photos that there is. So l- let me ask you kind of from there, it's hard to make a jump, I would say, from making music videos to being on a ranch and filming cattle every day. What were some of the challenges you had to learn?
Yeah, well, the first thing is how they look like well stand up. How to stand the cattle, so they need to look really good. And I have a really good teacher in that assignment, who is Enrique Sanchez, from Chapopote. Yeah, because he used to took the photos from his ranch, and the first time that I went to to his ranch, he told me, this is how they need to be really good. You need to see the forefeet, straight line, the way they need to look at. So I I think that he showed me a lot of how to make better forms.
So was Rancho Chapapote the first official cattle photo shoot that you did on a ranch?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were the first one, and and for example, about gear, cameras and lenses. I also had to learn and invest which ones were the best lenses for cameras and to take a cattle photography.
Yeah. Are you willing to share with people what kind of cameras you use, and have you always, whether it's Canon or Nikon or whatever, what cameras you like using best?
Yeah, well, I use Sony because it's really fast. The photo burst is really fast, so it helps me with the ears and to have some movements, in the yeah, when the bulls are running, so you can see all the I don't know how to say, like all the wrinkles.
Yeah, the detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and I use two lenses. It's the first one is a 70 to 100 2.8, and the second one is 100 400, and it's 5.6 6.5.
Okay, cool. So you're using a Sony. Do you do video and photo with your camera?
Yeah, I use the same one for video and photo, and the camera it's a Sony 7R3. I don't know, it's not the newest camera, but it's a really 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 good one, and I think that Sony uh, had that camera, in the top of the uh, I don't know how in the top of the best photographic cameras for a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. So here's another just general photo question because you said your basic recipe for a good quality photo is you can see all 4 feet and you have the head and attention. Do you like to see the head where you can kind of see both ears, or do you like the head just perfectly straight?
No, no, no. I prefer when you can see both ears. You know, it's a really tiny line when you can see just one piece of the how to say the ear that is in the other side of the head. So not necessarily full uh, the head full twisted to me towards me. It's like a little bit like 45 degrees kind of.
Yeah, not yeah. It's like a you don't want it too straight, but you don't want it too turned either. It when you see it, you know.
Yeah, it's like there, sweet point.
What about the sun? Like that's the sun and shadows, because that's always for us when we take pictures on the ranch, just casually. That seems to be our one of our biggest challenges is the the shadows. So, do you have any tips on that?
Well, the sun always needs to be on your back, always, and you need to see how the sun is going to move during the hours. So I don't know. From the worst hour to take photo is noon. Never. So if you have a this I don't know how to say, it's like you see the sun at noon, so 1 hour before, an hour 1 hour later, uh, it's not going to be really good light for cattle photography because you're going to have a lot of shadows, especially when it's red Brahman. It's worse because you're going to have dark bellies.
Oh, I never thought about that because we don't ever do red Brahmin, you know. But yeah. Hmm. Do you find that the season of the year makes a difference in shooting cattle photography, like summer versus winter?
Oh yeah, I love winter. I love winter.
Oh, okay, is that your favorite season to shoot?
I think so because from winter and spring, those are the best photo seasons because the sun is not always on the top of the sky. It has always an angle, always, all day long. So you just need to be turning facing to the sun, so you can have more job to do. You can take more cattle photos there.
Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to kind of walk through a typical day with us when we're doing a photo shoot and maybe some funny stories. I don't know. So, do you have a general number or a general goal of how many cattle you like to shoot in a day, or what's too many? What's your breaking point where you're like, I'm done shooting for the day?
It depends. For example, if Well, I mean, if we are going to make you know, show Carol's photos, we can take a lot of photos to have the best one, and maybe it depends because sometimes we got at the ranch, I don't know, 11 or 12 animals there. But I remember when we were taking the photo for the world champion
For Margaret or Glitter Sparkle?
for Little Sparkle, and I think that we took all day long taking photos from her.
If I remember right, maybe this was a different one, but our challenge was the background. We were trying to, because sometimes we take backgrounds at a picture pin, but then sometimes we've led animals literally across the pasture and taken them in a different spot. And I think with Glitter Sparkle, that's what we did. We ended up using the one that was at the picture pin, but remember that one we took of Margaret and 240 together, of them standing side by side?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was in the middle of the pasture.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe my favorite picture you've ever taken.
Oh, I really like that photo. It's awesome.
So, on average, how many like clicks or shots of an animal do you take to be able to get, that one final perfect one?
Well, every burst, it's 25 photos. So I take almost like 3 or 4 to get that photo. So there are going to be like kind of 75, 90 photos for having that one.
Yeah, yeah. So let's back up for a minute and talk about the picture pin, because that's really important for, I mean, at least at our ranch, we use the picture pin. At most other ranches, do they have a picture pin?
Well, some of them don't have, and some of them they have. But this, I don't know, for me, and I always use your picture pen as one of my goals. Where to take photos because it's the heel is a little bit. It's just a little heel. It's really soft one, so the fence is not like taking attention from the photo, and the pasture is always perfect. It needs to cover the perfect part of the front feet and the back foot, and also the angle because it's a little bit up from where I take the photos.
So you want a hill, you want a slight bit of a hill. But I can say in our experience, we have that. But when you go to do video, it can be challenging because when they're going one direction on the hill, it is on an incline. But then when you ask them to turn and go the other direction, they're on a decline. That's that's a challenge for us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's really hard to sometimes to find that place. Uh, but I don't know. I really love BRC picture pen. It's for me the best one. I really it's the space is perfect. Also.
Well, if you look at the background of our pictures, you can kind of see it. If you've been to our place, it's just that little trap that's right behind, all of our show pins, where you can turn out from any of the gates and go into the show pin. Um, the background of it is wide open. We have a barbed wire fence, but then behind it is our neighbor's pasture, and there's no trees really. There's not many. There's a few trees, but not a lot, and so it makes for a really clean background. But you mentioned the grass, and I know that's an area that's kind of people talk about that a lot. What do you prefer the length of the grass in terms of like covering their feet or not covering it?
Well, I prefer a little bit of grass, just to cover a little bit up from the wrist.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some of your like on the BRC one, you our grass is very short. So even like I'm looking at the photo of like 240. On his front feet, you can see just a tiny bit of his actual black hoof, So before, I mean, it's shorter than the dew claw of the animal. Um, that's how we like it. But then I noticed you have one of a red bull that you took that was almost right up to their knee. Um, so I guess you have to just work with each location that you're at.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of grass because some of the grass has really big, thick leaves, and I don't like that because it's a different texture. It's not a really soft one.
Yeah, and the time of year. I mean, the grass, at least here, the grass is going to be different during a different texture and different color during the time of year. So that that's also a factor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes I had this problem that all the grass is really dry, and but it's like, okay, let's show, you know that Brahmans are, they can handle with everything, and they always survive with also dry, uh, pasture.
Hmm. That's a great point. Yeah. So let's talk about editing a little bit. And first, I want to just talk about general editing. Not Photoshop unethical, but once once you take a set of photos, what is your next step in the process as far as pulling them off your camera, what programs you use, that sort of stuff?
Okay, first I always back up the photos to a hard drive, and I don't erase that SD card. Uh, I don't know, in the next 4 or 5 days. So, so I know that I have all that photos back up and already edited.
Yeah.
So in the folder, I found, well, I'm a Mac user, so you can add tags to the photos that you wanted to edit. So I always tag the photos that I prefer, and then I import them to Lightroom as a first step. You know, then well, I have a, uh, how the how Lightroom says, it's a,
Like a preset?
yeah, preset, already made. So I add that preset, and just like, moving a little bit of shadow, moving a little bit of light, and also white balance sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah. So your preset is basically going to, for our listeners, your preset is going to, what's the word? Put a consistent look across all of your photos in terms of color balance, white balance, shadows, more of the technical things, lighting, across all of the photos that you took.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know. I wanted to see, if you see my photos, my firm is a little really small one, but I prefer that when people see my one of the photos, they say, "Oh, that's a photo from Carlos," you know.
Yeah, you're it's a little sneaky because sometimes you can't even see your watermark. And you put it right between the back hock and the tail, and it's very subtle, but it's like you said, yeah, you can easily. I mean, I can spot your photos anywhere because they're so consistently outstanding.
If there's anyone who understands the need for branding, it's a cattle rancher. For 25 years, Ranch House Designs have been crafting custom logos for ranches just like yours around the country. And there's nothing more important than the right logo for building your brand. A logo is the handshake your ranch needs to capture the attention of potential clients and customers. So, turn to Ranch House Designs to make the solid first impression your ranch deserves. Let's get branding your ranch today. Go online to ranchhousedesigns.com.
Okay, so what we just talked about was like basic editing. Let's talk a little bit about photoshopping. Or when I say photoshopping, I mean bad photoshopping or unethical photoshopping. Um, what are some of your big thoughts on that, or general things that you do and don't do?
It's a really I don't know. Like they said, it's I don't know. I really don't like how they change sometimes the animals, because it's really, you're lying to the people. That's a fact, because sometimes you are like making deeper, or fixing the loin, or sometimes fixing purpose of the animal. So it's like, the shit, and I really don't like that. Okay, sometimes, okay, you know, it's okay if you raise the halter, or if there is a tree that you need to raise, and it's going to work to help you. That's okay, but change the complete structure of the animal. I don't think that it's a really good. Uh, I don't know. It's not good for anyone.
You put that nicely, but it's bad, really bad. So So let me ask you this. Let me ask you just, I want to just kind of ask some things of whether I think people confuse the term, or I think people confuse the use of Photoshop, and because Photoshop is a very powerful tool. It can really improve the quality of your photos from a technical standpoint, so long as you're not changing the animal, if that makes sense. So let me ask you this, and you tell me if you think it's okay or if you think it's bad. So take removing a halter.
No, that's okay.
Okay, removing, let's say an animal poops all on itself during the photo shoot and there's some manure on its rump, and you take that off.
That's okay, because if you need to clean that, you know.
Yes. Okay, what about in the actual picture, there's a halter and there's somebody holding the animal, like scratching it, and then you Photoshop that out so the final picture is just the animal.
It's completely okay. You need to show the animal. Yeah, it's completely okay, because you're not changing nothing from the animal.
What if, have you ever had someone say, can you take this picture and put it on a completely different background? Like maybe they take it somewhere that has, I don't know, a barn in the background, and they want you to take it and put it in trees as the background.
Oh yeah. Well, I had not not at all. Just few times of that. I really don't like that, because,
Well, it never looks natural. You can always,
but you're not changing the animal. That's it's it doesn't look natural, but you are not changing the animal. It's not unethical.
right. Okay. How about this one? What if you take a picture and you can see you can only see one ear, but you pull the ear off of another picture of that calf and put the tip of the ear in.
Yeah, it's an ear, or I don't know. Sometimes the photo is perfect, but he moved the tail, and you have another tail that is not, you know, perfect, but you have the same animal tail. Well, you can fix with that.
Hmm. So you and I both know there are pictures out there. Okay, so I also just want to throw out there, I want to talk about the picture of Margaret that we took last summer, and it's the one we use of her, and it is perfection. It is absolutely perfection. And the moment we took that picture, if you remember, and you showed it to Brandon on the back of the camera, he said he took a picture of the back of your camera.
Yeah, I remember because he said, you know, nobody's going to believe that photo.
Yes, he said that this picture is so good, people are going to say it was photoshopped. And wouldn't you know, after we posted that picture, some haters said, this is a photoshopped picture. And I had the receipt and I posted the back of the camera picture underneath it because it was not a photoshopped picture. And it's sad that you have to do that. But it's sad that honest photographers have to do that. But the level of dishonest photographers is so high out there. I mean, we almost do that for almost all of our pictures now, like just take a picture as a receipt so people can see this is the actual photo, guys. you know?
Exactly. It's like uh, I don't know. I remember perfectly that time that I showed the photo to Brandon, and he said, you know, let me take the photo of the viewfinder because it's people are not going to believe that it's real, that photo, or somebody's going to say that you know, it's Photoshop and we need to show that. But it's yeah, it's I believe that now when people are used to say, oh, it's Photoshop, and it's no. Sometimes you need to do your job, and that's why you I don't know, you move yourself or you move the animal to get the best shot of that bull or that heifer.
Yeah, yeah. But I know there are, and you and I know this too. There are photos out there that have been heavily manipulated for the quality of the animal, and I have always been very vocal about ethical photo retouching, but it's frustrating to me because so many of our global Brahman semen sales and even cattle sales are based off of a picture. And so when someone is changing that and then a breeder around the world buys semen on that bull and breeds its calves, and then, a year later their calves suck and they want to know why, it really has an economic impact across a lot of breeders. And I feel really strongly that we should be honest in our photos.
I don't know if it hurts what I'm going to say, but that's not only I don't know if the photographer mm, manipulate the photo, like Photoshop the animal. Well, the breeder also is agree with that because you know how what do you have in the pasture.
Right. So let me ask you this. I have two questions and then we'll wrap up. But when it comes to unethical photoshopping, do you think it's the photographer who's taking the initiative and just saying, let me change whatever I can? Or do you think it's a situation where the customer or the breeder is asking the photographer to make these changes?
It's like a 50-50, you know. Uh Sometimes they ask you for that, and there are some I don't know. If you can see, there are some photos on the internet that you're going to instead of being red, they're like, you know, I don't know. A different color that is not real. You know.
Oh yeah, well we didn't even talk about that, but you could alter the color pattern or color aspects of an animal super easy if you wanted. Like if an animal had a red spot, a gray animal had a red spot and you wanted to just Photoshop that out,
It's super easy.
super easy to do, but it would be wrong. Yeah, well, we could go into this topic for a while. We could get into this topic for a while.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's it's a really thin line that you. I don't know. I prefer that. For me, it's like okay, let me try to do my best and not let all the job to Photoshop, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I don't know, breeders also, it's like investing in better quality, not in really good Photoshop.
Hmm. I have a funny photoshopping story from back a long time ago that you'll like. You know, I don't know if you remember, but our listeners know that at Ranch House Designs, I used to do a lot of club calf advertising, and I started doing that in 1999. And when I first started, Photoshop was around, but it was like so basic, like super basic. And I had this client send me a picture of his club calf bull, and he had taken a black magic marker and like colored in the bull's back legs, like to make him look wider. It was a black bull. It was like a club calf bull, and he had taken a black Sharpie marker and like just colored in a little bit to make the bull look like he had more bone. And he literally sent the picture to me like to use in an ad. I'm like, I'm not using this. Everybody can see that you Sharpie markered in the back legs of this bull. So I just say that to say that this sort of stuff has been going on for pre Photoshop. Yeah. Okay. I do have one more question I want to ask, and it's more of a tip. So, what do you do when you're trying to take a picture of a calf and it's acting bad and you just like can't get it, or it's an animal loose on the halter and it just will not stop and stand correctly? How long do you give a calf, or is there a point where you just say, I can't do this today, or how do you handle that?
It depends on how, in fact, the animal is acting. Because if it's really stressed and moving a lot, sometimes it's like, okay, let's give a 5 minute try, and if we don't have nothing, just release, because I don't want the animal to get hurt, or also the people who is the person who is showing the animal. Sometimes I just say, okay, just like let's make like a free range photo.
So, what percent of your pictures would you say are on the halter versus loose? And do you have a preference?
I love both, really. I because I don't know. I think that each one has its magic. Um, but I think it's I don't know, more like 70% of halter and 30% without halter.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, before we wrap, I just laughed out loud because I've just been thinking here in my head of all of our different photo shoots. You know, have you ever had a photo shoot where, I mean, you've never had this here, but where everybody got so annoyed they just got mad at each other in the picture pin and like had a fight or anything?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We typically have a good time. I mean, even though it's stressful, but
We need to start filming the backdrops of the photos, because we have, Brandon is always dancing.
yeah. We have a good time, but I could see if you were someone who had a volatile personality and the weather was hot and your calf was not acting good, I could see a situation going bad really fast.
Oh, really, really, really fast. Sometimes, like, I need to say, okay, let's take 5 minutes. Let's grab something to drink, and that's it.
Yeah. So do you have, we're wrapping up, but we like to ask our guest who is their favorite Brahmin animal of all time. But do you have a favorite, or, a handful of favorite Brahmins photos that you have taken that, you're the most proud of throughout your career?
Oh, yeah. The first one is Little Sparkle.
Yeah, that's a beautiful photo.
That's one of my favorite photos ever.
On that one, if I remember right, so that was the first female that won Houston for BRC with our BRC brand. We've won Houston a lot, but that was the first one with the BRC brand. And so we were excited to get to participate in the Miss World contest. And literally, like right after she won Houston, Brandon said, "We have to get Carlos to come take a picture that we can submit to the Miss Brahman World." And so you did, and you spent a lot of time taking. You had to get it perfect.
Yeah, I remember that I took around 2,000 photos that day.
No pressure there. I know you do a lot of photos for Chapapote, and I always love the way that their photos look. Um, you do a lot of top breeders in Mexico, and they always look great.
Yeah, I for Chapapote, I remember when I took the photo from a bull that I really like. It's called Chapapote Manfred,
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
and it was like this bull is outstanding. And then I also remember, and it was a really one of my favorite ones in Chiapas. I was taking photos in San Jose. Uh, and in that time, I took a photo from a bull and a cow and her heifer, and that photo was awesome for me also because the light was perfect, the grass was perfect, everything was awesome in that photo.
hmm I'm just looking through your Instagram right now. Oh, there's one on here that you have from last year. This is at I don't it's Jose Molinos. Do you say it Palmyra or Palmyra? Palmyra. These are not Brahmin. Well, maybe they are, but it's a herd of females coming to you, but they all have these gigantic horns. Would those have been Guzarat?
Gujarat, yeah, they are Guzerats there.
Yeah, now that is a cool scenic photo. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like a lot that photo.
Yeah, I would be kind of scared that I would get trampled by a horn. But so, and I also see, okay, you have one on here that is at Ganaderia V5 in Tabasco, Mexico, and it looks like it's a red Brahmin, a gray Brahmin, and then I don't know the breed in the middle, but it's red and white spotted. That's
It's a painted Nelore.
okay. That one's cool too.
Yeah, I love that photo. It's like it's their three bulls that they have, and they are the three breeds that they breed.
I'm also just reminiscing of pictures here. The picture that you took of 160, that's got to be one of my favorites. I remember the moment you took that one. And like 160 is a really hard bull to capture his physique because he's so muscular and he's really so long. Sometimes it's hard he looks so impressive in person, but I think because of his extreme muscle and even his extreme length, it's hard to make it all look right in a picture. And we had taken pictures for years on that bull, just trying to get one that really conveyed what he looks like. And when you got that photo, it was epic.
Oh yeah, I remember that, and it was a really hot summer day.
Yes, it was. Now I'm going to get sad, but the only bull that I wish you could have taken is Noble, because by the time that we became friends, he was so old, it would not have really made sense. You have taken pictures of Noble, like his head and his, scenic stuff, but not the official photo. And that is one that I wish you would have been able to capture.
Yeah, exactly. And for example, I'm looking at my photos. Also, I found a photo that I was kind of famous because it was in a lottery ticket
Oh, it was on a lotto ticket in Mexico?
in Mexico. Yeah, here in Mexico because it was the 500. No, sorry, the 100 years of the Mexican Association, and they asked several photographers to send like pasture photos. Sorry, uh, and I sent a few of them, and then I didn't realize that they choose one of mine. Uh, uh, until they showed the actual ticket. So it was like, ah, I know that forest.
That is cool. How many times have your photos been on the cover of the Brahman Journal?
Oh, just I was talking about with Vicky Lambert that 2 days ago, and I think kind of 10 or 11.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had several for several different breeders, you know?
Oh yeah. Now this edition is mine, and the next one is mine also.
Oh, cool. Okay, so for our listeners, we talked about Carlos's Instagram, but I didn't have the handle right. It's creative and then an underscore cattle. And of course, you can go to the BRC Instagram, and a lot of times we tag each other in all the collaborations. But if you love beautiful photography and art and outstanding cattle, you really should go give Carlos a follow and just scroll through his pictures because they're amazing. You're the best.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Any last words? Any last things to talk about?
I really appreciate that you invite me to this podcast. It's awesome, and I don't know. It's like I feel always home and family when I'm working with you and your family also. You know.
Yes, I do too. I do too. We love you. We've had so many good times together and many more to come. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. And everybody go give Creative Cattle a follow. We hope you'll have a great week. We'll see you next time on Over the Hump.
You've been listening to the Over the Hump podcast. Our passion is Brahman cattle, and it runs deep. And this show is about its rich history, industry trends, and stories that define the American Brahman. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and Facebook at BR Cotrere. See you next time on the Over the Hump podcast.